Okay, with that, I'm going to close the hearing for this evening. As we've already said, written comments will be accepted by the County Council until noon on Wednesday, May the 9th. So if anyone has any comments when they were unable to share tonight or unable to finish, we would like to have you send them in to us. Bill number 1387, the bill we've been talking about tonight, will be eligible for vote on Tuesday, May the 22nd. Again, that's Tuesday, May the 22nd. So with that, I will go and we will have council comments. Start with Ms. Price. You want to begin?
I think most everybody has left, so not even reporters or anything are here. All I was going to say was just to explain the formula a little bit, because I think we can, make comments when we are voting on the budget itself. But some of the things that you might not understand about the funding formula, and I have been advocating ever since the day I was elected to the council to fix this funding formula at the state. So for those who said that I can't blame the state because I haven't said anything, I've been saying something for 8 years, so I'm a little frustrated at that comment. I'm the only council member so far who's put out a ballot initiative, and I know everybody else is working on one too, but I went out on a limb 6 weeks ago to go ahead and put it out there publicly to help get the conversation started. So we are doing what we can. We have made an increase of 7 cents over the last 5 years. And it's not 7 cents. That's 15% increase in your property tax rates. So yes, we are still the lowest in the state, but that 15% means something to a lot of people. We've got a lot of retirees on a fixed income. That's hard for them. But what I wanted to explain about the formula, and it's a little bit technical, but I'm going to do it. 1/3 income tax. We have, our median household income is 20% below the state average. That is, I think, primarily because we have a lot of retirees on fixed incomes. So we are not the wealthy county that everybody thinks that we are. You have heard that we have 45% of our kids on free and reduced meal lunches, the poverty rates that we have in Talbot County. People don't make a lot of money here in Talbot County. What messes it up is the property tax values. 2/3 of that formula is based on that. And you might think, well, if you have an expensive property, you can afford to pay the taxes on it. There's good news and bad news. The good news is we have a homestead tax credit which keeps the home affordable so you can stay in your house. For example, you might have bought your house 30 years ago for, say, $300,000. You're lucky enough that it's on the water. Guess what? It's now worth $1 million. The state, we're collecting on the $300,000. What we collect on our property tax rate is on the $300,000. Guess what the state funds its or builds its formula on? They build it on $1 million. We don't collect on $1 million. So that's what's wrong with the formula. A, it's based way too much on the property value that we don't collect on. That's 2/3, and 1/3 on income, which is what we're making 20% below the state average. So I really am getting very frustrated after 8 years saying we're the wealthiest county in the state. We're not. And I would rather the schools go with me to Annapolis and work on this funding formula and advocate and lobby at the state as hard as you lobby the county council.
Well, I'm the only one here that's not running for re-election, so I want to say a few things because this is the last time I'll probably be in this seat. I do want to say how much I appreciate everybody who came out tonight to speak, especially the students. It's important to hear from the students. I remember some years here where we had all parents, all teachers, all administrators and what have you, and no students. And I remember thinking to myself, where are the students? If this is such a serious issue, you know, this is a learning experience for them as well, and they should be here. And so I was happy tonight to see the participation of the students, especially. And as for the NJROTC, that kind of irks me, I'm sorry, because a few years ago when Karen Salmon was at the helm here, the county came in to save the NJROTC. That was going to be cut. And the NJROTC came to us and said, you've got to do something. This is a serious problem. And we did. The council came in and basically said, I know we can't tell you how to spend your money, but if you close down the NJROTC, you're going to have a problem with the county council. You know, we do have the power of the purse. And so I wish the veterans didn't all have to come out to defend the NJROTC, because I know they have better things to do. And if all we're doing is funding a half a salary, that's not a huge budget issue under any circumstance. And all of us know the value of the NJROTC. They participate in all the ceremonies that they organize, that they do, the Veterans Ceremony especially, all of the events that we all attend. They're always there doing great work for the citizens. So again, you can cut out the NJROTC, but I'll be a very vocal opponent of that, just so you know. I won't be running for re-election, so, but I do want to say that for the most part, these hearings have been very much the same for years. And it is a function of the tax cap and the function of the revenue that we can collect. And that's just the reality. You can call us all a bunch of idiots and ogres and whatever else. But the fact is that when you stand there and shake hands at the voting booth, you see who votes. You see who walks in the door and who casts the ballot. And for the most part, in this community, we're overrepresented with elderly people who don't necessarily have children in the schools. And all you have to do is stand there on election day and watch who walks in and who casts a vote and who walks out the door to know that you cannot ignore people on fixed incomes and of limited means whose property values and income tax, sometimes income tax, but mostly property tax, it's a financial killer. If we raise our income tax or our property tax up to what some of the other jurisdictions on the Western Shore have, we would literally drive people out of this county. And I don't want that as an elected official on my shoulders. So I'm very mindful of people who say, use up the rainy day fund, raise the property tax, 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 tax. I'm not doing it. I'm not running for re-election, so the four of you, if you're going to have a ballot initiative, are going to have to create the ballot initiative. Because that's not going to be my parting gift to the county. So it's never been different. We've always had the same discussion here at the school board as far as I've been here since 2006. It's always a struggle for the people in these chairs to allocate funds. There's always this much that people want this much, and you have this much to give. That is the reality of Talbot County. So I'm a little bit on my soapbox, and I don't mean to keep people here too long, but this is my last opportunity in this forum. I get 5 minutes because I'm speaking for my group.
I'll stop for the last minute.
I have a group. But anyhow, it's always a struggle, and when you get yelled at, that's more dispiriting than anything. If you don't like the way we operate, run for office. That's all I can say. It's not easy up here. We have $250,000 ambulances to buy, $500,000 fire trucks. We have all sorts of things that we have to decide on. And so to be reprimanded, I mean, it goes with the territory. If you're going to be in politics, you got to have a thick skin, and I have a thick skin. But the point is, we can all be civil to each other and communicate with each other, which Kelly has done a great job of, I have to say. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, and I appreciate all the input we had tonight. It's been very valuable. Thank you.
I have a question. How do we tap into illegal immigrants' taxes?
I'm going to keep mine very simple and short. I'm a product of Easton High School, or the school system myself. I'm born and raised here. Everybody sort of heard of me and knows who I am, hopefully. You know, I've been working hard. This is my, you know, going on my I'm going to be running again. I think I've done a very good job working, trying to stand up to keeping Tillman School open. So I was one of the first ones. Me and Dirk were down there, and we put ourselves out there to keep that school open. Something else I've really done and really tried to do a lot for the school is working with Kevin Schaefer, which has done a phenomenal job running and creating for the new school. And I'm on that steering committee, and I've worked hard with the council to support that. So I think it's really kudos to the school system and the council for really doing that. So, and we've worked really hard for that. And I really appreciate the teachers being out here tonight. I really, really feel for you. You know, my heart goes out for you too. I'm pulling for, I'm supporting, you know, and it's a tough year when it comes to this tax thing. It's a very, very slippery slope when it comes to that. So I think we have to find a way to do that. It's going to be us four that are going to have to work on that and find a way that we can do that. So I will be supporting that. The young lady that was up here talking about, you know, being an EMT. That's a really, really phenomenal position to be in, because I was an EMT at one time. So I've gone from, you know, from the school to being a business owner, to being a firefighter for the last 30 years, an EMT, and being on this council. So I know what it takes to go from you know, elementary school to being sitting right here where I'm at now talking to you guys. So I'm there for you. But you're going to have to understand that we've got to make some tough decisions. You elected me to make these decisions, and I'm going to make some good ones for you. So I hope that I don't take a lot of the stuff that you said tonight. Everybody's so passionate. I don't take that personal whatsoever. So, you know, everybody has their sort of limelight for 2-3 minutes and says what they have to say, because they're so passionate. We're all passionate about it. We all want the kids to have the best. So, once again, thanks a lot for tonight. Thanks a lot, Kelly. Thanks a lot, Sheriff, for doing everything you're doing for the opium and all that. And Charlie, I really appreciate everything you've done for the school. And by the way, our staff, I really want to commend you of putting things together for us, working with us. You know, this budget, I know it's hard, I know it's late, but you know, everybody has the same feeling. We want to get this thing done, and we want to make it right. Thank you, guys.
Well, this has been probably one of the longest ones, probably since 2010, when the council cut the budget by $1.8 million, and maybe the Allied Health Building and the gymnasium. That probably was another big one for us. But Andy, hats off to you and your Blue Wave. Some of them trickle back there with you right now. But I want you to let them all know May the 15th to be at the Bradley Room. We will be discussing a public work session on the revenue cap. That would seem to be the main comment. I know some people may have been confused. We can't adjust the revenue cap, the property cap. We can't. You can. We can't. We will have to have a public session, which this body will discuss it. We need a 4/5 vote. You've heard Mr. Bartlett's comment on it. So we need the rest of us, the 4 of us, to make a decision on some language which will go before you, the voter, in November to decide whether or not the revenue cap will be adjusted. We can do it. We can devise the language with your help, and and hopefully you'll come out on the 15th to hear us debate it and give us your suggestions. So that's May the 15th, 5:30, Jessica, 5:30.
But there's not
At the
public
Brett,
input on that one, right?
it's a work session. I'm sure Ms. Williams probably allowed for some comment. That's up to her. But come out and be heard. I do appreciate everyone coming out tonight and giving your input. And this is part of the democratic process to be heard by your elected official, and I do appreciate it. These type of exchanges, public hearings, allow us to hear directly from you. We will take this information back. On the 15th, we'll also have a final decision on this budget. So it's not an easy task. When you're talking about how to come up with an additional $2 million, the rainy day fund is your piggy bank. Really. I mean, we put the money aside in case there's an emergency in the county that we need to go into and get that money. I'm really hesitant about going into it and pulling that money out for salaries, because once it's gone, it's gone. So we've got to find a better way to fund the salaries and fund the programming and going into your piggy bank. You don't want to do that. I know some people have said made that comment tonight, and I jotted it down a few times as it came up, but that's something you want to think seriously about doing, is asking this council to go into that to pay salaries, because once that money is gone, it is gone. But with that being said, again, the hour is late. Come out on the 15th, listen to the work session. Either send it through Andy or send it through superintendent's office, and we'll be glad to take those comments into consideration as we try to devise language to adjust the revenue cap. The power is up to you. It's in your lap. Come November, it is in your lap whether or not there's going to be adjustment to the cap to pay for these services. We have to build a new home for your sheriff. That building over there is going to come down probably 2022, 2022, 23. So we know that we have to find another space for the sheriff's office. So and we have to pay for that. That's all I have to say. Thank you all for coming out. Thanks for being heard.
Thank you. I'd like to thank our staff, and I'd like to thank Kelly and her staff for working so hard on the budgets. You know, it's not an easy job for any of us, and we've all really suffered in the process of putting it together. It's a difficult process of looking at all the wants, all the needs, and not having the funds to fund it. In the first budget cycle I went through on the council 4 years ago, I guess it was, I knew at that time that the revenue cap needed to be changed, and I've been advocating for that ever since, and I think my voice has gotten louder. I've talked to staff about it, I've talked to council about it. So I'm committed to seeing something on the ballot this year to make that change. But it's not up to us, as Mr. Pack said, we can't approve it. And until that is approved by the voters, we don't know where it's going to go. I think that's one of the reasons why we have a great hesitancy to touch that rainy day fund. Another issue with the rainy day fund is when we are looked at as a county for our bond rating, they look at what we have, so to speak, put aside in savings. And if we don't meet the criteria of the bonding companies, our bond ratings can drop, which means the interest rate on all that debt service we have, much of which is for the schools, would go up and make it even more difficult for us to make those payments, which would force us to make more cuts in the budget going across the board. So it is important to keep those reserves where they are in case there is a true emergency, and also to make sure that our bond rating stays where it is, because right now it's at a good place and it allows us to borrow the money to build that elementary school and other buildings that we're going to need in the future. So with that, again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and sharing their thoughts. It is an important part of this process that we hear directly from people where they feel that we're not funding enough. I would have liked to have heard a little bit more about what you think we're overfunding, so we might know where to make some adjustments. But with that, I'm going to say good night to everybody and thank you for being here.